move the feedback to stop, kill the loop. And so pull it back up a little bit. Down. Down. Yeah. No, yeah, not all the way. Let's wait for someone to start talking and doing something. Nope. Too high here. Sorry. I don't mean to kill it. Am I helping or hindering?
I don't know where we're getting feedback from, ladies and gentlemen. We have 3 mics and none of them are on. Is yours like on your office or somewhere?
Or maybe you could try the light.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just figured out.
Check.
Inside of my world, she's just like a maze. Well, all of the walls are continually changed. I've done all I can, stand on the steps with a heart in my hand. Now I'm starting to see, maybe it's got nothing to do with me. Fathers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do. Girls become lovers, turn into mothers. So mothers, be good to your daughters too. You see that skin? It's the same she's been standing in since the day she saw him walking away. Now she's left cleaning up the mess he made. So fathers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like they do. Girls become lovers, turn into mothers. Mothers, be good to your daughters too. Boys, you can break, find out how much they can take. Boys will be strong, boys carry on. Boys will be gone without the warmth from the woman's good heart. On behalf of every man, looking out for every girl, you are the God and the light in His world. So fathers, be good to your daughters. Daughters will love like you do. Girls become lovers, turn into mothers. Mothers, be good to your daughters too. So mothers, be good to your daughters too. to your daughters too.
Good, we're having technical difficulties this morning. It's on? Okay, there we go. Good morning. My name is Reverend Karen Madrone, and I am the interim minister here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. It's a lot of syllables to put out quickly. My pronouns are she and her. Today's service is all about teaching and leadership. We will be dedicating our teachers that work with our children and youth, and we will be dedicating our lay leaders. We will be exploring what we can do to make our mark as individuals and as a community. Throughout this service, you're going to notice that there are a few slight tweaks I've made. I encourage you to sit with whatever is coming up for you, pay attention to that, and to remain curious about what is happening with you in response. Our opening words today come from Connie Goodbread. She is a regional assistant in the southern region. I love these words. Faith formation is all we do. Unitarian Universalism is all we teach. The congregation, all of you, and lots of people who are not here, you are the curriculum. Let us begin our worship together. Join in singing, Here We Have Gathered, number 360, and Embody Your Spirit.
Thank I have Maddie Roberts here lighting the chalice. All right, we're going to do the same. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the identity of affection. All right. Hello? All right. Let's see. Okay, good morning. My name is Rebecca Britt. I am the Acting Director of Religious Exploration. The pronouns I use are she, her, hers. I have the privilege of welcoming you to South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. We're an intentionally diverse religious community. All are welcome here. We would like to extend an especially warm welcome to those of you who are visiting us for the first time. We're so glad you're here. Please feel free to share your joy or your concern. This is a caring and support. I'm so sorry. Please make sure to check in with the greeter after the service if you haven't already done so. We would love to get to know you. This is a caring and supportive community. In the chapel in the back of the sanctuary, there is a book to write down your joys and concerns. Please feel free to share a joy and concern there. A member of our caring circle team will follow up with you. Children are always welcome in the sanctuary during the service. If you'd like us to take care of your little ones during the service, we have our nursery downstairs, and it's ready to go when you're ready to take your child down. We also broadcast the service on closed-circuit TV, downstairs in the social hall and in the nursery. Today is an intergenerational service. We will all be worshiping together. After the service, everyone is invited to go downstairs for fellowship, and today we have an ice cream social sponsored by the Religious Exploration Council on the playground at the back. This is a vibrant community, an active community. I encourage you to read the announcements in the order of service to learn about the ways to participate in this community. As we begin, I ask that you please place your electronic devices in worship mode. Thank you. I would like to call up Brian Deming from the Ministerial Search Committee for an update.
I am Brian Deming. My pronouns are he, him, and I serve this congregation as a co-chair along with the esteemed Chris Berg, who you'll hear from a little bit later, as co-chairs of the Ministerial Search Committee. For those who are new here for the first time, this congregation is going through a transition where right now our minister is a interim minister who will be here for this year, this church year, which runs from about September through next August, and then we will have a new settled minister next year. Right now we're in the middle of two things where all of you guys get to tell us things, teach us about our community, tell your stories about our community. There's two ways to do that. One is through the survey that is in your an insert in your order of service today. You can either scan that QR code, there's also a website. You can talk to one of us about how to take it if you are not wanting to do it online. I think that we could probably arrange that if that is the way that you would like to take the survey. That gives us the quantitative and also some qualitative. There are a bunch of qualitative questions on there as well. It gives us really good data about our congregation and what you think about things. And then the second way, which is really important, there are signups for this down in the social hall, is our cottage meetings, and that's where you get to share your stories. And that's really what this search is about for us in terms of the data that we're getting, is we want to tell this congregation's story, and that story is the story of everybody here, and everybody who is part of our community who's not here right now. And that is what really gets communicated to the ministers who are potentially wanting to find a fit here, and it helps us find the right fit for a minister, which is the most important thing that we can do. So I will stop talking now. And we've got the survey and cottage meeting sign up downstairs in the social hall afterwards.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So today we're going to try a new practice. Please turn and greet your neighbor and welcome them in worship. Thank you for joining us in that new practice, and now an old one. I'd like to invite the young and young at heart over here and join us for the time for all ages. Does anyone here already know the story? Great, we're going to talk a whole lot about it today. Excuse me. Great. All right. Are you ready? I'm hearing some negativity, and I'll tell you what, we're going to turn it around. Breathe. So, Dot. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," Vashti said. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. There. Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper towards Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name. The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn, her dot, all framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that. She opened her never-before set of watercolors and started. Vashti painted and painted. A yellow dot, a green dot, a red dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with red. She discovered she could make a purple dot. Vashti kept experimenting. Lots of dots in many colors. If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. Vashti slashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not making a dot. At the art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared down at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Please, sign it." That's the end of the story. I want to invite you to stay up here, though, because we're going to do something special. What in the world? I like the yays. Keep the yays coming. One, two, three. Shh. Thank you. So one of the many ways people make their mark in our community is by teaching religious exploration. And today marks the beginning of our RE year. This is our Sunday where we dedicate our teachers to their year with our children and youth. Let us as a congregation, as a whole congregation, covenant with those who give their time to faith formation in our Sunday program for children. We'll start with Reverend Karen. Please take a strip of paper. My friends, can I ask you to come join us up here? Thank you so much. Do you, Reverend Karen, as our minister, pledge your support and energy as we embark on this new year of living together with an open mind, a loving heart, and helping hands?
I do.
I invite you to make your strip of paper in a circle to be linked with your fellow leaders.
Now my question, Rebecca, as our acting director of religious exploration, do you accept the responsibility of planning and supporting opportunities for religious exploration and faith formation for our church community and commit to careful listening to our teachers, our children, and our entire community with an open mind, a loving heart, and helping hands? If you accept this charge, please say, "I do."
I do.
Now I invite Rebecca to make her strip, and we are going to be joining strips as we can continue our ritual here this morning.
Here's your strip, Margot. Margot, as our youth coordinator, do you embark on this new year of learning together with an open heart, a loving mind, and helping hands? If you accept this charge, please say, "I do." I invite you to make your strip of paper into a circle to be linked with your fellow leaders. I would now like to invite all the adults who have agreed to work with our exploration program to please come forward. All teachers, all RE council, you know who you are. I would also like to acknowledge that many of these teachers are also on the RE council. And as a fun fact, some of you are teachers, you're just not up here yet. But you're going to be teachers because you're going to be inspired by this service. Do you, religious exploration teachers and facilitators, accept the responsibility of being in our classrooms with our children and promise to bring your enthusiasm, talents, and energies to helping them grow into the individuals that they will become with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands? If you accept this charge, please say we do. We do. I invite you to make your strip of paper into a circle to be linked with our fellow leaders.
I would like to invite our children and the youth to stand, and those who have not yet come forward to come forward now and join us, please. Is that all of our friends? Yay! All right. Do you, children of our community, accept the responsibilities of being in classroom communities based on mutual respect and promise to bring your enthusiasm, talents, and energies on Sunday morning with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands? If you accept this charge, say we do. We'll make those downstairs after.
Okay, I invite the congregation to rise in body or spirit. Do you, the members and friends of South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society, as a congregation, accept the responsibility of being a part of this learning community as teachers, mentors, participants, and supporters with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands? If you accept this charge, please say, we do. We do. Thank you. Now, I invite all of our leaders. Let's see, where's the strip of paper? Oh, good. So we have this. Thank you so very much. And then I invite all of you to please take your seat, and now we're going to move on to our leader dedication ceremony. Thank you to all of our teachers. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, a commissioning is, quote, the act of granting certain powers or authorities to carry out a particular task or duty. In many churches, there is a common misconception that the leaders of the church run things, that the board or the leadership council has all sorts of power to get things done, and that everyone else essentially coasts along, following the direction the leaders have set. Some people even seem to think that the minister has this kind of authority. This is not true, especially for us. As a congregationally based tradition, all power in Unitarian Universalist churches comes up through the congregation and is bestowed upon the leaders, including the ordained leaders, to carry out specific service for the good of the whole. Today, then, we take this reality seriously and formally bestow upon our chosen leaders the authority they need to carry out the works that we have assigned them. This leader dedication is an opportunity to give our blessings to the ministries these people will provide in the coming year, and to affirm their sense of calling to the roles of service they claim and to which they were elected or choose to serve. To be sure, there are people who give much to this church of their time and their talents, whose names, unfortunately, will not be called this morning. We cannot list every single person in every single role. And there are people on this list who do things for which they are not now being recognized. Our intent today is to affirm those whom we have set apart through election at the annual meeting this past spring, and those who have taken upon themselves one of institutionally recognized roles of leadership. Yet this in itself is no small thing. These leaders need our blessing if they are to do what we have asked them to do. These people need our affirmation and our support. For they are no different than the rest of us, yet they have entered into the ministries of leadership for all of our sakes. Here then the names of those elected to leadership in our congregation. From the Board of Trustees, Ann Scarborough, please come up when I call your name. Ann Scarborough, Lorelei White, Denna Wright, Phil Quigley, Judith Mayer, Jan Vanderhooft, and Elena Hendricks. Now you want to move down a little bit because more people are going to be joining you. To call up these chairs of committees. Inez Corbanca, Caring Circle, Ted and Tucker Gurney, and Dion Perkins, the Coalition of Religious Communities, Tina Kirkham, Communications, Bob and Kate McGillivray, Facilities, David Norton and David Weitzman, Finance, Jay Hogue, Happenings Hub, Marilyn Smith, Hospitality, Ellen Payzant, Leadership Succession and Development, Scott Renshaw, Membership, Chris Berg and Brian Debbing, Ministerial Search Committee, Bill Dobbs, Personnel, Susan Ezagari, Social Action, David Wilcox, Stewardship, Christine Hirrell, the Transitions Team, Natalie Cole, Welcoming, Kathleen Luck, Camp Out and Cups, Bill Quigley also serves with Endowment, Denna Wright also serves for Library, Lori Quigley, Prayer Shawl, and she also serves on Communications, and Bill Dobbs also leads the Religious Transitions Group. Please feel free to spread out and across the front and around. These are the people who have been called to serve South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. Now, the board is way over there, but I need you to respond specifically to this question. Members of the board, you are charged with keeping sight of the big picture, with holding South Valley's vision, honoring its past, and guiding South Valley toward its future. Do you accept this charge with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands? We do. All other committee chairs and leaders, you are charged with keeping sight of your particular piece of our community's mosaic, with advocating for the needs of the area of communal life, which is your specific concern, and working with one another for the common good of the whole. Do you accept this charge with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands? We do. To all members and friends, do you affirm these elected and chosen leaders as volunteers who need your support? And I'm going to stress that again. They need your support. Is that true? Okay. Yes. They need your support because this is hard, very hard work. Do you support them in your participation, your appreciation, as well as your caring and concern? We do. That's the correct response. Thank you. The congregation, I'm going to read you a line, and I would like you to repeat it back to me. Grateful for your willingness to take on the responsibilities. Grateful for your willingness to take on the responsibilities of leadership in our community. Of leadership in our community. We affirm your calling and vow to support. We affirm your calling and vow to support your ministries of leadership in every way we can. Your ministries of leadership in every way we can. We encourage you to take care of yourselves as you take care of us. And to remember that you are part of this community. Even while you lead us. Thank you. Now, to all of the board members, officers, chairs, there's a different one for all of you that you repeat back to the congregation. We thank you for your faith in us. And vow to do our best. To live up to the charge you have given us. We promise also to remember. That the ultimate responsibility for our church. Lies with all of us. For this is our home, our community. May we all do what we can. To make it a home we can be proud of. Thank you all so much. May it be so. Who has the chain? I got used to that lavalier for a couple of weeks, and we had a technical difficulty this morning. So these represent the leaders who are up here, and I know there are more that were not here today. It's just to represent some of them, and we're going to have these chains also downstairs, because the leaders are not just those who are elected, that all of us are serving in leadership roles. Let's collect our energies into a settled moment here together. Spirit of strength and love, help us to be both teachers and learners, leaders and followers. Help us remember that spiritual growth takes place in our lives. We need to be open to new ways of thinking and being together. True leadership requires listening, patience, and knowing when to adapt and when to stand firm. Teaching requires the details, like remembering to get supplies ready for lessons and asking the big questions about how we share our values with our young people. Are we teaching the right things? Not just, are we teaching? We ask for the right discernment to do the work we are called to do and to support others in their work. May each of us step into the right leadership positions for our skills and talents. Help us to maintain a non-anxious presence and learn to lead in a proactive way rather than a reactive way. In moments of anxiety or worry, help us to stay focused and calm, knowing we are not alone. May we remember that relationship and process is more important than any final decision. How we are together matters. Let us never put our own egos above the needs of the community. As we teach and lead, we ask for guidance and support. In all that we do, may we stay open and curious. Please join me in singing number 389, Gathered Here. We're just going to stay in our seats and just sing that quietly together. Who is going to give us her South Valley story.
We found South Valley when Annika was 3. She's 16 now. I grew up UU in Columbia, Maryland, and I moved to Utah when I was 27. This is my big adventure. I've been out of the habit of going to church, and all of a sudden I had a career and a house and a husband and a daughter, and I realized I needed a place to be inspired and be reminded that I'm part of something much, much larger than myself and much larger than all of those day-to-day things. As a good UU, I declared to Colin that I was opening to visiting lots of places. And since Colin hadn't really thought about going back to church, it seemed like the right thing to do, but it turns out I wasn't really very open to any of them. So there's some growth and learning to do there. As soon as something drew a line between in and out, I'd get very twitchy and know that I couldn't stay very long. I like the idea that we're all in this together and that we really need to find a way to make that work. And South Valley aspires to that too. I'm gonna get choked up, so. And it's that inspires me and continues to inspire me. Every week we make the audacious statement that you are welcome here, no matter what. You are enough, and you are welcome here. And we want you to be here. The only ask is that you help make this place work. It's a remarkable invitation, and it's difficult to pull off. No other organization makes such an open-ended invitation or commitment. But we are so much more than not those other places. I am so much more than not them. We are on a journey of our own that deserves its own language, and it's not relative to something else. Our You Are Welcome Here commitment challenges us to figure out how to actually do that. How do we get better at it? What does that actually require of each of us? Are people naturally good at that, or are we sloppy and unintentional? What does it look like to make room and to listen and to learn and seek understanding and live with differences and to champion perspectives that are not our own? This place is an incubator and a model for me. May our story be long and our welcome enduring.
We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. For September and October, the offering will be split with the VOA Center for Women and Children, which provides safety and support for homeless and low-income women who are withdrawing from alcohol or drugs. Now we will begin the offertory.
That was stupendous. So today's sermon is going to be more of a dialogue between me and Rebecca so that some of you can get to know us. We are the newest people on staff this year, so we're going to be sharing some of our stories about leadership through the lens of the book about Vashti, who learned that she could actually be an artist. So, Rebecca, I was thinking about it. Rebecca brought me this book, a month and a half ago, whenever I started. When we first met, she's like, we have to do this book. And I was like, okay, we're going to do a sermon on this book. And so then I was really into why is Rebecca so excited about this particular book? And I read it, and I read it several times. And each time you hear it, even though it's a very simple, kind of direct story, that it has many layers of meaning. So I was really taken by your passion about this. And I was thinking about how good storytelling, literature, these stories, they tell us about parts of our own stories. They make us have these aha moments that connect us to something that happened in the past. And they might even have opportunities for healing. So I was wondering, Rebecca, was there a time in your life when you felt like the work that you did was not true work or art was not validated?
I think definitely, and the way I do my art is through storytelling. You see it every week. I love telling stories, but I used to really think it was just kind of something fun that you do. And I remember when I was graduating from college, my chaplain had a meeting with me, and he said, I want you to speak at graduation. I want you to speak on faith, community, and values. And I was like, no, sir. That is not for me. I always loved telling stories, but I'd never done it in front of people, much less 1,000 people. And basically, just like Vashti's teacher, he kind of dared me not to. And he was like, okay, that's fine, but you can do it. I believe you can do it. And just almost to prove him wrong, I was like, well, fine, I'll do it. And so from that experience, I really learned I don't have to be a perfect public speaker, and I'm never going to be a perfect public speaker, but especially if I don't try. So you see me up here every week, and it doesn't always go perfectly, but I learn something every time. And I think that moment where my chaplain was like, okay, but you can do it, really kind of pushed me to see what I do as a form of art. Have you had an experience like that?
Well, I guess I could say my whole 20s were like that. Because I really, when I went to college, it was really about trying to survive. All I knew was I had to go to college, but I didn't know what it was, what do I go from there? And I figured out along the way that because I was interested in history and political science and I liked looking at the way the world works, that I eventually majored in that. But then come realizing my senior year, what in the heck are you going to do with a bachelor's degree in history and political science? And so I thought about getting a PhD and other types, but I realized I'm really not that competitive. Do you know how many people apply for history positions in teaching in colleges? It's astronomical. And it's so much more competitive now than it was then when I graduated. And so I decided to get a master in public administration, and in that program I realized that it really wasn't for me, the program itself, but I felt like, because I didn't feel like I had other options, that I had to finish, whether I wanted to be in it or not. And then eventually, I had my first job, it wasn't the greatest, and then the next job opened up that I felt like, oh, this is the thing. This is why I went to school. All of this is it. But within a year, I realized this was not it either. And so I spent many years being underemployed and trying to figure out how to make the pieces fit when I didn't come from a family of well-educated people. I didn't have many connections. I didn't know what in the world was I going to do with these degrees and how to actually make myself fit into the world as we have it, where apparently you're supposed to have this meaning based on your job title. It just doesn't fit in how most of us actually live our lives. So I was wondering about this whole framing aspect, because when Vashti goes along and her teacher frames this art, and how that actually makes you feel when you see that somebody validates something that you did. And so could you tell us about a time when you were, something that you were working on that you believe it contributed to your work, or something that you did? Was there an event or a person or maybe an aha moment that made you realize that you have these skills? You told us a little bit about some of your public speaking. Would you like to tell us a story about it?
Well, it relates to my storytelling, where I really, first and foremost, consider myself a storyteller. And when we were talking about this theme, I thought about, when's the first time I really thought of myself as a storyteller? And I remember when I was in first grade, a boy in my class was being bullied, and I was very upset about it, but I didn't really know how to talk about it. So I wrote a little book with all the words I knew how to write when I was 6 or 7. And my teacher saw it, and she said to me, "Can I use this in a lesson?" And as like a little 6-year-old, I was like, "What? Are you sure?" And I think it was so formative because I think at that point I hadn't gotten the chance to think of myself as not being valuable and not having a voice. And so because she from the very beginning, just like Boston's teacher said, "I believe in you, you have a voice," I was realizing a lot of my life's work is very similar to being a first grader writing a story about bullying. I come here and I believe what we do is we teach people to be kind, we teach people to live their values, and then I go home and I write all sorts of stories that are very similar to that. And so I think when we have teachers who put our students up and say, "Stand proud of who you are, this is who you can be, and I believe in you," we tell them to sign our names. And I know all our teachers here are doing just that. They're telling our students to sign their names on their work and believe in who they are. And I'm wondering, I know we've talked about you've had similar experiences at your home church, and I'm wondering if you can share with us.
Yeah, so for me, the validation came through other lay leaders at my church, and the years that I served on the board at my home church for 7 years. I was a board of trustee, and then vice president, and then president. And so during that time, I was having this feeling like maybe this is what I should be doing, I don't know, but then other people saw things in me, just like Vashti's teacher said, "Hey, this is what you should be doing." And even if something simple like sign your art, that they said, "Wait a minute, there's something more going on here, you should explore that." And so that encouraged me to step forward. And I think about that is really what a lot of our leadership is about planting seeds. I consider myself a seed planter, especially in interim ministry, that the work that I do here, I might never see. And that is actually part of the point. You're planting something, you're planting hopes and dreams, and that somebody in the future may actually see the fruition of it. But I am merely the planter of that seed. But I would not be here today if it weren't for the people. I think about Chris Berg up here feeling like I was all choked up. But if it weren't for my people who saw that, and if we didn't have the belief that all people are welcome and all people are loved, and regardless of whatever your background is, whatever your education level is, all of those things, that Unitarian Universalism says you have something in you that you need to explore. So thinking back again on the story because now that I think through that story, I see so many deep lessons in it. I was wondering if you could tell us one more thing about what pulls on your heartstrings about this particular story.
Yeah, the first time I read this story was when I was a preschool teacher, and I just picked it up, and I was like, "We're gonna read this, everyone please sit down." And I hadn't read it before, and I kind of was going along like, "Oh, this is kind of a nice story." But then when we got to the part where the little boy comes up to Vashti and says, "I can't be an artist," and she gives him the lesson that her teacher gave her, I cried in my little preschool classroom. I'm gonna cry here. I think it's just so beautiful because as we all had teachers, from the time we were very young, and even as we sit here as adults, we had all these teachers who made an impact on us. And what I'm thinking about now is we have these 2 young teachers who are joining us this year who have gone through already their entire language from the butterflies on. And we had them at the teacher training yesterday, and they were saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm just going to be just like our teachers who I had growing up here." And they're ready to share the gifts that they've been given here with the new generation. And that's really what sticks with me about this. One moment. So they're just ready to give it to another generation. I think we talked a little bit about that. What kind of stuck out for you in the story?
Also, I was thinking about the teacher, and if you notice that the teacher she only has a couple of lines in the whole story. That she tells the Vashti to sign the dot, and literally it's just a dot on the piece of paper, and then she frames it, and then you don't hear from the teacher for the entire rest of the story. And how fascinating that is that she is just a seed planter, but yet she has changed Vashti's life. So in closing here today, I want us to remember that we all have responsibility to help each other make our dots, make our mark on the world. We may not really understand it, but we do it anyway. During the course of our year together, I think I've lost it. There's adaptability. We have to help each other make our dots. We have individual dots and we have a larger community dot for how are we going to be together and how are we going to impact our larger community. We do individual projects, things that we help with, small things like we're putting out music here in the sanctuary, and then there are things like our bigger projects like raising funds from Project Welcome for our ramp out back by the annex so that we can be completely accessible. All of those things need all of our help. There are things we'll be working through and progressing through as we make our mark here at South Valley together. We will be stepping up, and like Vashti said, wait, I can do even more. You would think that all the changes we have made in today's service, and who knows what's going to happen in 2 weeks from now, so hold on, would be enough, whatever that is. But I have just one more slight change that I hope that you can have some patience with. After the chalice extinguishing, for the postlude, Cinnamon Wolf, who is managing our technology today, Cinnamon is going to play a song from a musician that I love named Reggie Harris. And I've met Reggie many years ago, and I think that his music transforms the world too. The song is called Ready to Go. This song encapsulates the space of where this church is right now. Last week we had our water ceremony, and today we dedicated our teachers and our leaders. South Valley is now ready to kick into high gear of the work of this program year. We will sing our closing hymn, have our chalice extinguished with the normal words we're used to using, and then we will dance. Leadership needs to be celebrated. As we move into our year together, may we be like Vashti's teacher and see what could be. Our job is to always be looking forward to what can be. We are building the road as we walk it. May we be like Vashti in taking what we've learned and helping others. And may we never lose sight of why we are here and what we can accomplish together. Let us rise in body or spirit and sing number 348, Guide My Feet.
Thank
light or truth or the energy of action. We hold each other in our hearts until we meet again. Now get ready to dance.
What's your question? She needs the microphone.
Turn up two. Is it working? Turn it up.
She's speaking?
Yeah, can you turn off the music?
Is it working? No. I just want to remind everybody we have the ice cream social after the service in the playground. So to get there, you have to walk out and go around to the back. But that's our kickoff is like, go get some ice cream. And then I know there's also the leadership council meeting today, and there's also a communications meeting, very busy. But go get some ice cream first.